this is my first attempt at doing this, and I have a camera here and a camera there, and I am going to be trying this again. Hello, it's been a while. Hi, this is going to be off the cuff because I'm trying so many new things, trying to adapt. It's been a year of COVID. It's been a year of insanity. It's been a year where bit by bit, my privacy, my social life, family life, like everybody else, has been strained. I mean, the great thing that I have going on for me is I do have a full-time job, and that's why I haven't been able to do videos. Not everybody around me has a job. I do have my mother living with me. She's a senior, and she was also a PSW. And in the midst of all of this chaos and mayhem, it ended up that she ended up losing her job. So she is kind of in limbo, and in the same time it's wearing on me because I almost feel like there's also some dependency things. I don't understand how to do this. I don't understand how to do that. So it starts to wear on you that you are like the IT department, you are the information center, you are all of these things, and it's never good enough. And as I speak, me coming into this car, I was basically guilted that I didn't want to go for a drive, that I wanted to be alone. And yes, my delivery was harsh. I said, no, I'm going alone. It's hard being the bad guy, and you live and work and eat and breathe and sleep in your same space where you have no privacy, and your result is actually being inside a vehicle talking to a camera. It's not fun, and I don't feel funny, and I don't feel like putting scripts together and giving you guys entertainment. Although you probably are going to be entertained by some of the stories that have come out of late. If you're not on my Instagram, again, as I told you, what are you doing with your life? You really need to be doing more with your life and seeing the tragic episodes of me and my upstairs neighbor. Now, if you have been familiar with my upstairs neighbor and the noise wars that have been coming down since basically the second lockdown that happened in Ontario, let me fill you in on what happened prior to that. Now, it's been some time since my upstairs neighbor was a single woman, a teacher. The teacher thing is not so much about vilifying teachers. It's that the superintendent thought higher of her because she's a teacher. And the thing of it is, there are assholes in every field. There are self-entitled princesses in every field and walk of life. Just, Apples are not an endangered species, unfortunately. They are going to outlast cockroaches. So, maybe 2 years back. And thank God she's gone. Can you imagine this happening during COVID? Can you imagine? Okay, so, her name was... And for some reason, there's certain names that already conjure up a certain idea of a person, and it's bad. People all have them. I'm confessing this. This name conjures up a certain character for me. And honestly, she lived up to that idea that I had in my head. So I had been in this apartment for maybe 6 months. I would hear, she took 10,000 baths a day and whatever. And like, you could hear certain things and you can speculate on their behaviors and stuff like that. And I rarely heard her other than the 10,000 baths and the wood chipper for a smoothie maker. That was the extent of her noise upstairs. So 6 months into my first year being there, 5 o'clock in the freaking morning, I hear boom, 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 boom. Notice that there's an emphasis and an accent on the first boom and lighter on the second, which suggests that she favors one side over the other. If you're a runner, you'll know what I mean. So I'm like going, are you freaking kidding me? 5 o'clock in the freaking morning on a weekday, I'm hearing this pounding over my head. My prediction was, it sounds like a treadmill. If you've been in the gym, and if you remember back in the day when we could go to gyms, not that I would want to at all, it's just, I always thought it was a cesspool before COVID, honestly. I thought it was like just a disgusting petri dish. Boom, 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 I complained about it. You know, it escalated. She tried to do at 7 o'clock. She tried to do it, whatever. Sometimes she would go for 3 hours a day, 3 hours on a weekend. I'm like, 3 hours of having somebody bang over your head. It's not an intermittent banging sound. It's not you putting IKEA together and it's only going to last one time. This was like every day. I approached the city. I had to take a detailed log of everything that she did, times, lengths of time, this and this and that. The building went through all these weird lengths to try to do their due diligence. Have they mitigated and tried everything to buffer this sound? Even this girl upstairs, she went and got herself a mat to put it on. So instead of me hearing the actual impact, all I'm hearing is like bass. It didn't matter what day of the week she did it. It didn't matter what time in the morning. It was triggering. It was invasive. And so the city decided that they didn't want to have anything to do with it. The onus was on the building, which I knew at the beginning and the whole time. I'm looking, I see walkers coming by. They're going to think I'm weird. This weird lady's like talking to herself in full voice. She's weird. Yeah, I'm weird. So this lady goes through all these lengths to try to buffer the sound. She's all pissed off, and now I'm hearing her stomp her feet in her room and whatever else like that. And then the super tried to drill into I guess it's like kind of an alcove or kind of like I guess like an attic, but I don't understand how it could be an attic. I don't understand how it could be an attic if we're in an apartment building. But anyway, there was some space and they filled it with some kind of soundproofing, whatever else like that. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. It didn't matter. It just got worse and worse and worse. And it was a commercial grade treadmill. Okay. And then I stopped hearing her at all during this one summer. Turned out that she actually moved out, which was great. But before that, in the midst of all of this, and I just recently threw this out, but she hand wrote a 3-page letter about her distress at not being able to use her commercial grade treadmill in a residential space. She went out and told me that she was a runner. And if you haven't been here before, I'm a runner. And I live in a beautiful place where you're right on the lake and there's so many paths to be on. So she's going on how I saved so much money to get this and I was so happy and you could have talked to me yourself. And I'm like going, no, I've heard you talk to your boyfriend on the phone on the balcony. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with this person. I'm not dealing with her and it's not my job. My contract is with the building, not with you. So you have an obligation not to infringe on the peaceful enjoyment of my living space. That is the bylaw and all the rest of this. Talking about infringing on somebody's peaceful enjoyment of their living space. Oh, she said that the salesman told her that this was appropriate for an apartment building. Girl, the salesperson, if they want to close the sale, are going to tell you you're the sun and the moon. They're going to tell you that your shit doesn't stink. They're going to tell you all kinds of nonsense to close the sale. Are you new? Honestly, I don't understand how you can even think about just thinking about basic science. And I know that we don't teach science anymore in school, but basic science about kinetic energy making an impact on a surface and how it travels throughout the surface. It's basic stuff. She wasn't that much younger than me, so I know she's been taught some sort of science. This long, elaborate story is the precursor to my new upstairs neighbors who were told upon entry that they were not allowed to have a treadmill, even though they brought it into the building. So when we first closed down Ontario, he was coming back from South America, had to quarantine, and he attempted to do 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and it was pounding. I'm like, nope. I thought you told me anybody incoming cannot have a treadmill. So it stopped. We opened up a little bit last summer, and then we closed back down around Christmas. As you know, in Ontario, he tried to use the treadmill again, and that's when the banging started. It escalated basically from Christmas until now. And that's where I invite you all to go to my Instagram and check out the Chronicles of Bad Neighbors. So this is my first attempt at doing a car vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you want me to rant about. And, we will see you next time. Bye. Bye. It's only got 17 minutes. I thought I'd have like how many hours? That's silly.